a special morning to you, the members of the press, for once again answering the call of the National Democratic Congress to one of its press conferences. We really do appreciate your presence here this morning. This morning, this press conference has been called to promote or to speak to the plans of the National Democratic Congress Party on its 4th anniversary celebrations since being in office. As you are aware, on July 8th, 2008, the Grenadian people, the Grenadian electorate, voted in support of the National Democratic Congress to replace the previous administration. And as a result of that, we have been in office for the last 4 years. And this year, July 8th, as we have done in the past years, the NDC executive, at its last executive meeting on Thursday, took the decision to have an activity at the Latan Beach this Sunday, commencing at 10 a.m. The social activity, which will comprise a cooking competition among constituencies, sporting competitions, dominoes, bouncers, and other social activities, has been planned and overwhelmingly agreed to by the National Executive of the National Democratic Congress. In that regard, we are inviting and we are asking all of our party supporters, all of our party members, all the stalwarts of the party, those party soldiers who have worked long and hard in the field for the National Democratic Congress, those who have in 2008 and 2003 and other elections have gone house to house, knocking on doors and convincing persons to support the National Democratic Congress, and inviting them to the function on 2008. This is not the first time we're having such an activity, but the executive members believe in the argument in putting forward the activity, that such an activity is important at this time, so that members of the party will get to fraternize. It will be seen as a bonding of members of the party with regards to what has been taking place within the party for the last couple of months. It is believed that rank and file members of the party will have an opportunity, not just to simply meet an executive member on the street, but will have occasions to have discussions with executive members and the leadership of the party in such a function. So it is an opportunity for members of the party to fraternize, to socialize, to exchange ideas, to exchange views and the likes. And we believe that the executive of the NDC believe that at this point in time, such an activity is extremely important for us as we commemorate, as we celebrate our 4th year press conference. And as we say, this Sunday on July 8th from 10 a.m. at the Latan Beach, the NDC party will be having an event in commemoration of the 4th anniversary of the National Democratic Congress. So I will now, with me, is Mr. Valden Paul, Assistant General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. And maybe Valden will want to add to further explain the activities that the NDC will be having on its 4th anniversary. Valden.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for coming here to help us inform the Grenadian people, party supporters, and so as to what we'll be having on Sunday. And Latan Beach, as was said by the PRO of the party, it's an occasion for us to once again bring our supporters and well-wishers together because we are not only catering for the members of the party, but there are a lot of persons out there who still has lots of goodwill for the party and not necessarily members. So we are inviting them as well, everyone, to come to Latent Beach. And what we'll be doing there is a number of activities. We'll be having sporting activities. We're having some cricket, some small goal football. We'll be having games, and we're asking persons to come, walk with the games, the card games, the dominoes, whatever games you have. Come, and it's an occasion where you can meet with the leadership of the party, ask questions about some of the concerns that you have, which, I mean, there are a number of things out there in the public, and it's an occasion you can meet leading members of the party, and you can ask, direct questions, relate to them. It's an occasion again where we can once again, bring our people together and really socialize in a way that can really help them, because I mean, quite a lot of persons, has been felt rather alienated in some ways, So it's an occasion again where we can really bring them together, have them ask questions, and socialize together, rebuild that wonderful bond that we once had, We can rebuild that and to really put our party on the right footing to go forward in an attempt to once again regain our place in government. So I'm asking everyone, come out, even the persons who would have their transportation. On your way to Latent, you'll see persons by the road wanting to go. Give them a ride. Stop, pick up persons, come to Latent, and let's have a good time, because we understand the economic situation, and we want to have this event to be a very low cost one. We don't want to expend a whole bunch of money, Let us go out and have a wonderful time in Latent. So we're inviting everyone, come out and let's have a good time on Sunday.
Thank you, Father. So we will now, invite union members of the press to ask any questions that we have.
So for your first question, what will you say to the Prime Minister's statement that the press release he sent out as PR of the party was issued without his knowledge and approval?
The press release that was sent out by myself as public relations officer of the party was the communication to the nation of the decision of the National Executive. The National Executive, which was put in place by the delegates of the party, and my mandate as the public relations officer of the party, in our discussions on Thursday, and other times when I have issued statements coming out of the executive of the party. That statement that was issued as myself as public relations officer of the party was based on the executive decision of the national.
And is there a protocol in place? Is it like that the political leader has to approve the press release before it goes out?
No, there is no such protocol. But more than that, for more than 10 years or thereabouts, I have spoken on behalf of the National Democratic Congress, locally, regionally, and internationally. And on many of those occasions, statements that I would have made on behalf of the party would not have been approved directly as such by the political leader, but it reflects the sentiments, or the views, or the perspectives of the National Democratic Congress Party. As public relations officer over the last year, and I've had a stint as PRO some time before, it has always been the tradition of the party for the PRO to communicate the views and the perspectives and the decisions of the executive to the national population and to the wider world. And I believe that at the same time, that has, I just simply continue that tradition of communicating the views and perspectives of the party to the wider world. And indeed, some time ago, several months ago, the disciplinary committee of the party made a recommendation to the executive that persons should cease and desist from commenting on the divisions or the perceived divisions of the NDC. That recommendation was not adopted by the executive of the party. And indeed, the political leader and the deputy political leader of the party opposed that recommendation and said that that recommendation needs to be edited as such, because persons should not be seen as Muslim persons and so on in the party on speaking on those issues. The political leader from time to time would admonish us and encourage us to speak on matters of the party and so on, without any Muslim, without any hindrances. So in short, the statement which was issued is in really and truly conformity with the traditions of the NDC, and as I have known it, and I have served as PRO sometime before and so on. Of course, I would concede that in matters, of a sensitive nature and so on, that you may want to from time to time run it with other senior executive members and PR experts and so on. But basically, what has happened here is that it's a simple communication of the executive decision to the wider population. And as you would appreciate, this is the first time that you have heard me, you've heard a statement from the PRO or from the PR unit of the party on any of these issues. We have largely remained silent on all of these issues that has been surrounding the party.
I stand to be corrected, but the executive meeting was held to decide on function to be
the executive meeting was a routine executive meeting.
Right.
We meet every third Thursday of the month to discuss a wide variety, whatever issues as will arise.
Is how we reached here, and what point was it decided that the Prime Minister is going to function in that another faction?
Well, no, it's not another faction. As I understand it, and as the Prime Minister informed the party, the Prime Minister's rally will be put on by the government, not by the party. It will be put on by the government, which is different from the party. The party felt, the executive members felt, that the government did not exist on July 8, 2008. It was the party. And it is the party that was voted into office. So that it is only fair and reasonable that the commemoration or the celebration of the 4th year in office could only be of the party. Some executive members suggested that why don't we adopt the rally which was planned by the government and have a party rally where all party comrades would be involved. And that suggestion was not taken on board, because party members believed and they felt that there are many members of the executive, there are many members of the party who are not necessarily members of the government. Compare the size of the cabinet to the size of the executive of the party, and you will appreciate that there is a larger handful of persons that comprise the executive of the party than the executive members of government in the cabinet. So persons suggested that we should have a party activity, because it's only the party that could be fairly celebrating and commemorating the 4th year in office. And again, it will be the party that will be the vehicle. It will be the party that will be the institution that will go to the Grenadian people again when election is called, to ask the Grenadian people for their vote and their support. No government, as we know, goes and contests elections. And we of the executive members, in fact, history will record that I stayed silent as the PRO, and as a member of I stayed silent throughout the discussion on that Thursday. In fact, the executive members overwhelmingly voted to have that meeting, to have that function, at Latent Beach. And indeed, I, as public relations officer of the party, I from voting one way or the other on the on this matter. But that is how the executive members felt. The executive members of the party felt that it was the NDC as a party that won the election in 2008, and it is only reasonable that the NDC show some appreciation to party soldiers, to party comrades, to persons' faces who you have not seen, to persons' names who are unknown, who walk the highways and the byways and represented the party from Latant to La Femme to Montreach to Gunbattle to Carriacou to Pitimati, all over the country. You have persons representing the party, and the executive members felt that we should have a function whereby we can re-engage, whereby we can bring together all of these party comrades once again and seek to rebuild the party once again to go forward at the next general elections.
But what
Political leader, that the deputy political leader and all cabinet ministers will attend the function. We expect them to be there to show camaraderie and support for the party. I expect that they will be at that time.
So can they expect the executive to attend their function as well?
Well, an invitation went out, and the political leader has invited the executive members of the party to the function, and I believe it is reasonable to assume that the government will expect the executive members to attend. But of course, I am not in government. I cannot speak on behalf of government.
Will you be there?
Me? Oh, I live only 5 minutes from Goa. It's only walking distance from where I reside.
Mr. Imam, how would you describe your relations with the political leader at this stage?
How would we
describe your relations with the political leader?
The political leader, you would recall that I am the person that championed and coined the phrase Uncle Chili, and he will always be my uncle. He will always have a special place in my heart. I love him dearly, the political leader. We have a great relationship. We have a very cordial relationship. We speak to each other in brotherly and fatherly love. I respect the political leader. I will defend the political leader as I have done. I have promoted the political leader from 2002 to 2008. And I am pleased for the part that I have played as the chairman and political strategist of the party in ensuring that the Honorable Tillman Thomas is Prime Minister today.
And would you promote that for an upcoming election?
If I am called to do so, I would do so unhesitatingly.
I think Glenn, Wayne's question is what I wanted to ask, because before I came here, I met some people, and the discussion that was going on is this party is seemingly no longer a party, it's now a coalition. Two sides trying to stick together for a common good, but it's not working out. They're now like two billy goats on a ledge, locking hands, and nobody willing to move, nobody willing to go if their separate ways. I am asking you here, Mr. Gill, what you see as the way forward for the National Democratic Congress? You have less than 15 months to the general elections. Do you think that your supporters are happy with what they are seeing? How can you mend that?
And that is why you will see from the purpose of this press conference that, and I'm certain that most of you would have come to the press conference thinking that here it is that the PRO is having a press conference and is responding to what was said at another press conference yesterday. And I'm certain that you were shocked to appreciate that all this press conference was about was simply to speak about what the NDC executive has planned. And that is why, in answering your question, that executive members were very strong in their conviction, were very strong in their belief, was very forceful in the arguments that we should have such an activity where we bring all of the party soldiers together in a function like that on the 4th anniversary of the party winning government. Because it may not be a 5th anniversary. The 5th anniversary of a government being in office is the election date, right? So this is the last opportunity. This is the last opportunity for the party to come together, for the party soldiers to come together, to break bread together, to drink wine together, to share in camaraderie, to share love, to bury the hatchets and so on. So that is what this is about. And it is the executive way. We have had, as a political party, we have had retreats, we have had seminars, we've had team exercises and so on. It is recommended from experts worldwide. And you, members of the press, belong to organizations, and you appreciate the different strategies that are used for team building. And one of the strategies that are put forward for team building, of course, is social activities like this. So that is what the executive members were saying. That is what the executive members were advocating. And they voted to have this activity. And this activity was agreed upon by the executive as part of the strategy to rebuild, part of the strategy to mend fences, part of the strategy to unite going forward.
You mentioned that the Guam event will be a government event.
I was only quoting the Minister of Information and our beloved Prime Minister.
Right. And yesterday at the press conference, the Prime Minister said that party funds will be used. And I assume that party funds will also be used for the Latin event. How will that affect the caucus of the NDC?
Well, I can say to you that that was an issue which was raised by executive members. And the sentiments which was raised by executive members is that the government should pay for government activities and the party should pay for party activities. The executive believed that that is one of the most distinguishing features in Westminster-style democracy. So that, again, questions were asked because the Grenada Constitution speaks to how monies donated to government should be dealt with in terms of going to the consolidated funds and so on and so forth. There is a procedure. You could ask the experts, Dr. Alexis and so on, our foremost constitutional lawyer. You could ask the Minister of Finance and so on. How is it that what provisions that the Constitution outlines as how monies are donated from different sources how should be used, are dealt with, and so on and so forth, government activities. And the point was raised that executive members felt that we should concentrate, because the NDC doesn't have a whole heap of money. You know that political parties really and truly, you see our women's arm just last Saturday. One of our women's arms in Andrew Southwest had a barbecue sale. I mean, you raise monies, and that is it again. All these ordinary people who do barbecue sale, who do Ramona cruise, who do different activities to raise funds and so on. The executive members believe that the scarce resources that is available to the political party should be used for the political party activities.
How much are you estimating that the lifetime function?
It's a low-cost event because what we're doing is asking constituencies to provide dishes and so on. You see? And even with the transportation, we're asking the constituencies and so on to mobilize and to provide their transportation and so on. That is why the Assistant General Secretary made the point that we were asking persons with vehicles and so on to pick up persons on the way and so on and so forth. We have always done well, the NDC, with very little resources. I remember in 2003 when we didn't have t-shirts for our party supporters. They went and purchased $5 t-shirts and printed in stencil and paint NDC on the back of it. So we have a history of struggle with scarce resources. But at the same time, we recognize that party activities have to be done, and we're calling upon all of the party activists and party soldiers and so on to prepare this and to come and share. I preparing, and I've made it public already, rice and cutlet. That is my contribution. That is what my ability in cooking can afford, and that's what I want to do.
So will you be at the war event?
Huh?
Will you be at the war event?
I have said before that I live in the village of Granroy, the village of Slinger Francisco, the Mighty Sparrow, and the roots of Maurice Hamilton. That's where I'm from, and I live only 5 minutes from Guam. So once I am through at the latent event, I believe then that I am well disposed to attend the activity at Guam.
Can we say the same for the rest of the executive?
Well, I cannot speak as you would appreciate.
People here might be able to say
no, we have a press conference with 2 persons. It's not a. I'm certain yesterday you didn't ask the crowd to respond.
Yes,
We have a. Well, wow, that's a new trend in press conferences.
What sort of turnout are you anticipating at Latin?
Well, we're expecting we're expecting party members to be at Latin and persons who are supportive of the party. Activities like that in the NDC have always attracted a couple hundred persons. So that is what we are expecting.
As you mentioned, women's going to change the...
You're asking any matter on the party.
Okay, I received a release this morning that the recent election of the women's army was declared null and void.
Yes, the executive took a decision again, and that again was because of reports coming from the meeting based on chairpersons and representatives from constituencies. They complained that at the last meeting of the women's arm, where the election was held, that some of the constituencies, women were not present. More than that, some constituencies made the point that they have vibrant women arm in place, working, very active, and the women from the constituency women arm was not invited or was not aware of the meeting and so on. So here again, overwhelmingly, the executive thought that because of these irregularities and so on, that there was not a fair representation of a cross-section of women from the different constituencies, and as such, the executive held that the last elections of the women's arm was null and void.
The release also stated that one of the reasons was that the executive announced that no election of any arm or any part of the party should be held. That is
yes,
also correct?
that is also correct. You would appreciate that originally on July 8th we set the date July 8th for our convention. Yes, we set the date July 8th for the convention. Now, what transpired after that is that you had, quite a lot of constituencies holding elections and different things like that, and you remember the press went on for the full time coverage of some of these constituencies and so on. And to say the least, some of it different. The executive took the decision to postpone the convention that was originally planned for July 8th. And along with that, a directive from the executive said, listen, all constituencies, party branches, party organs, let us put a hold on all elections here and forth until further directions from the executive. Because it was felt that we needed to have a period of calm, a period of tranquility. We believe that a lot of these activities, elections and so on, which was routine matter, which never attracted media attention, was for some reason now being the headlines. And we felt that we needed a period of calm because it was not doing the party any good. And as such, we said to constituencies, said to party organs, pull all the horses. Just wait until these parties and so on and so forth. So that is what happened.
So all the elections are null and void, or just the women, or just those that were held after? All the recent elections are null and void?
No, but after the party took that decision, I don't think, to the best of my recollection, I can't, of course, be corrected, but the best of my recollection, because as you have, I can't remember everything off my head. Constituencies held elections, so we have not had any election in the constituency as such. But that is the best. That is to the best of my knowledge. But the executive felt that they needed to have a period of cooling off, so to speak, rather than continuing to have, these adversaries and all of these activities. So there are no more questions. I really appreciate and I really want to thank you for attending this press conference this morning. I know that you have a very busy day ahead of you, and from the bowels and from the heart of the National Democratic Congress, we want to thank you for coming out this morning.